Welcome, everyone. Just a reminder to please turn off your cell phone or put it on silent if you have one. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Bain.
Here.
Councillor Correll. Here. Councillor Lundstrom.
Here.
Councillor Scalise. Councillor Sherman. Here. Councillor Spradlin. Councillor Straub.
Here. Okay, we have a new agenda item that we've added to the meeting, and that is the approval of agenda item. Thanks to Dan Kropp for suggesting that. So any changes to the agenda that we might need to make in the future, we can cover that in the beginning of the meeting if there's items that we need to pull. So with that,
Just one thing I was going to ask the city clerk on item 13, work session, marijuana research. Are you ready to discuss that this evening?
Yes.
Yes.
okay. Okay. Are there any other changes council sees that we need to address? Okay, with that, the regular meeting for June 28th tonight, like I say, it's a new step we've added, so we'll take a motion to approve the agenda from council.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Councilor Lundstrom. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Councillor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Councillor Correll. Yes. Councillor Straub.
Yes.
Councillor Sherman. Yes. Mayor Bain.
Yes. Okay, with that, the approval of the minutes, we've all had a chance to look at the regular meeting minutes for June 14th. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve as submitted. Second.
Second.
Councilor Gurel, second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councillor Sherman. Yes. Councillor Straub.
Yes.
Councillor Correll. Yes. Councillor Lundstrom.
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes. Okay, number 5, visitors and delegations. This is our citizen comment portion of the meeting. Is there someone who would like to publicly comment tonight? Let me read my little thing here. Citizens are invited to speak to council on any item that does not have a public hearing scheduled. There is a 5-minute time limit per person unless otherwise noted by the mayor. Each speaker will have one opportunity to address council, and please provide your name and address. Please note that no formal action will be taken on an item that is not on the posted agenda due to the open meeting law provision. However, they may be placed on a future posted agenda if action is required. To better assist you, if you have questions, please submit them in writing to the city clerk, and someone from staff will respond. And we have a form by the door if you would need that. But if you'd like to come forward, please.
Excuse me, this is my first time ever doing this. Thank you. My name is Dawn Johnson. I reside at 114 South Bruce Street, across the tracks over here. My main concern, complaint situation I have is where my house sits, and I do rent. I've resided here at my address for 9 years, is the train blowing its horn. And I understand there are signs that we have seen where it's asked for a quiet zone, and I have discussed it with Rick prior. I don't remember his last name.
Caroclian.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, I can. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I discussed it with him.
Yeah, we don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay, good, because I didn't see his name up here either. I understand with Ebenezer, with it being a quiet zone, I actually have a family member who resides at Sunset Manor, so I understand the urgency for that to be. But also at this end on Clayton Street, where the train comes down around that corner, he is blowing his horn constant. The other night there were 3, actually it was Saturday night because I spoke to Rick Sunday at church. There were 3 trains coming back and forth, and each one of them, before they ever even come across that corner, it was a constant blow all the way through, and as they passed, they were constant blows. It's very disturbing when you want to have your doors open and you can't hear yourself talk, and it's just very annoying. And I understand that they've been working on the quiet zone. And when the signs first went up, they were really great. They, toot once or twice, which is, grateful because we don't want anybody being hit on the tracks. But when it's a constant pull and blow, it's not so fun. Myself, I am disabled. My husband is also disabled. And it's just very annoying, to say the least. So I was wondering where we are with doing that, with taking care of that. And there's also one other thing where the grain bins sit closest to Bruce Street as Railway, right before it turns into the dirt road. There's grain bins. There is an engine that will sit there, and it will constantly run. I am 3 houses from the railroad tracks on Bruce. When that thing is running and we get a breeze, that smell is coming into our house. It's coming in through our air conditioners, and it makes us nauseous. And I don't understand why it sits there running. There's nothing attached to it, and it's just sitting there running. And it will run for 5 or 6 hours just sitting there. It doesn't move, nothing. It's not being attended to in any way, shape, or form. And then there's one more thing that I have is on the corner when you go from Railway to turn right to Bruce, either that or you continue on to the dirt road. That is a really horrid corner right there. We have neighbors, and I have my grandchildren who come over and play, and people come speeding around that corner, and there's only, a 2-block radius to go from that part of Bruce Street off of Railway till you hit the part, the dead end Park Street right there. They come speeding around that corner. Or if you're coming this way on Bruce, and I'm sorry, I'm not good with my north, south, east, and west. When you're heading this way, they come speeding up from the 200 block into the 100 block, and then they cut that corner. We have asked years ago about maybe a sign that says yield children at play, or maybe even possibly at this point putting a stop sign. There is a stop sign when you're coming off of the dirt road for people to come onto Railway. But maybe at that point there could be a stop sign when you coming that way before you turn on right to Bruce. I apologize. I guess when you would be turning south.
Okay.
If there could possibly be a stop sign. So those were the main things that
Okay.
we were kind of.
On the last little bit, would you grab one of those things and kind of describe the area that you're talking about, and please bring it to a city clerk or somebody, and somebody from staff can respond on that. One thing I can say, the Clayton Street crossing, we did put in a quiet zone. But as part of the agreement with it isn't really an agreement. The railroad has jurisdiction that we don't have at all. As far as they always have the ability to sound their horn, even though it's a quiet zone. Is that correct? I don't like it either, because we spent money to create that quiet zone. Hopefully it'll stay quiet. But they do have the ability to blow the horn whenever they want to. As far as the uncoupling of cars that they've done in brush, we would love for them to stop that. However, courts have ruled that because the railroad existed before the city streets, that the courts have ruled that you cross their tracks at their leisure, so they could block that from now until forever, as far as I know, and there isn't anything we can do to stop it. We used to issue tickets for that if it was too long, and the railroad all over the country quit paying the tickets and took it to court and won, so there's not much we can do with that piece of it. Ebenezer does not have a quiet zone. That's one of the things we're going to talk about on a work session. But it is a quality of life issue, and I'm not sure what we can do about. I know you're right in that they just did small little taps when they were coming into town, and I just recently heard of the meeting I was at that they're starting to sound that horn all the time, and there may be a way we can request that unless there is a safety factor or something like that, the engineer needs to sound it, we'd like for them to respect our quiet zone. We put money into that thing, so. But I thank you for bringing it to council. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
for your
thank
time.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you for taking the time. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to publicly comment? Kim, Teresa? Okay. All right, moving on to our management portion of the meeting. First up, we have 6A, law enforcement compensation. I have our city administrator and finance director on that.
Okay, each of the council members received a memo in their packet, and it essentially outlines the direction that was given at the last city council meeting as we discussed increasing the compensation for our law enforcement officers. And at that last meeting, the council gave direction to increase officers at 10%, 8% for senior officers and sergeants, and 6% for the lieutenant and chief. So we're looking for an approval on that so we can make those adjustments for July.
Okay, and I have Joanna, do you have? Okay. Okay, with that, I would look for a motion on this issue.
I move that we approve the law enforcement compensation as discussed at the last council meeting.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I second.
Counselor Lundstrom, second. Any further discussion on this issue? Okay, with that, I'll call for a roll call vote.
Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman? Yes. Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Guerrero? Yes. Mayor Bain?
Yes. Okay, 6B, Drug Task Force IGA. I have Chief Boss for that.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the compensation component. The Drug Task Force IGA is basically an update and an improved IGA that we started last fall. If there's questions, I'll answer those, but we covered most of this at the work session, so.
One question, when I was reading through that, Chief, I noticed that each year the sergeant position would rotate from Brush to Fort Morgan.
Yes.
But the commander position, who selects the commander? Is it the committee?
The commander stays with Brush.
Oh, I
Yes.
knew it was subject to Brush.
So the
chain of
commander
command.
will always be with Brush Police Department.
Okay, so that isn't gonna rotate back and forth
Correct.
between
That
Morgan? So
does not
it'll be a
rotate.
Brush police officer will be the commander?
Yes.
Okay. And how is the commander selected? Is that through the committee of the
That
two
is
chiefs?
selected by me, basically.
Okay, okay,
So currently and in the foreseeable future, it is Commander Hardy.
okay.
That's part of his responsibilities.
Okay, and the other question is, if we get other agencies to come on board with this, then their chief would become part of the management committee of the task force, is that correct?
Yes, I
Okay.
don't see that happening anytime soon. but
Okay.
If that were to happen, they would, yes, join the management committee, so we would have whatever executive, chief or sheriff would be part of that committee. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I wondered, with two chiefs, you have the Fort Morgan chief and the Brush chief, how would you handle a disagreement on the committee about how things, when you only have two?
You
don't
know,
have somebody-
actually with two, it's easier because we can sit down and have a great conversation and work
Okay.
through it very quickly.
Okay.
If we had four, I think it'd be much harder.
Okay.
Currently with two, it's working very well.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Pardon me?
Rock, paper, scissors.
I like how I make
Yeah.
decisions that way all the time.
No.
Well, I'm glad to
Like how
see
you're-
this move forward. I think it'll be great.
Yes, and so far it's going very well.
Okay. And this is, we will need a motion for the IGA. First, are there any other questions about this? Okay, I look for a motion on the Drug Task Force intergovernmental agreement.
I move we approve the Drug Task Force IGA.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Counselor Sherman seconds. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Guerrero? Yes. Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman? Yes. Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Mayor Bain?
Yes. Okay, next up we have proclamation number 2021-12, National Parks and Recreation Month. Do I have a motion to approve the proclamation?
I move we approve Proclamation 2021-12, National Parks and Recreation Month.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the proclamation. Do we have a second?
Second.
Counselor Guerrero, second. Any further discussion? One thing I'd like to, I wish Lance was here. I want to congratulate him for another successful brush rush this weekend. I know we didn't get the numbers that we were hoping, but there was a lot going on, as I think people were wanting to do more coming out of the pandemic and
Right.
stuff like that. But he always does such a good job with that and stuff, so. All right. With that, if there's no further discussion, I'll look to a roll call vote.
Counselor Lundstrom,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor Stroud,
Yes.
Counselor Sherman. Yes. Mayor Bay.
Yes. And with that, Counselor Lundstrom will read the proclamation.
Okay, proclamation number 2021-12. Whereas Parks and Recreation programs are an integral part of the communities throughout the country, including Brush, and whereas our Parks and Recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region, and whereas Parks and Recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally and physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of the citizens, and whereas Parks and Recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism and attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction, and whereas Parks and Recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the City of Brush recognizes the benefits derived from the Parks and Recreation resources. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Brush City Council that July is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Brush, given under the hand of the seal of the City of Brush this 20th day of June 2021.
All right, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 6D, resolution number 2021-5, a resolution initiating annexation proceedings. Dale?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As promised during the last council meeting, that we'd be coming forward with a resolution resolution initiating annexation proceedings. This was in reference to Greg and Regina Dardanis. They've acquired some property just north of Beaver Valley, and they would like to annex that property into the City of Brush, but at the same time zone it as being residential low density and have it also subdivided. They've provided the land use form. They have successfully given us a petition for annexation, and they've also signed the annexation agreement. So this is the next step in the annexation process, and this is what really starts the countdown. And now we'll be taking it to all the different agencies out there that have interest in it. We will also send it to our planning and zoning, I believe, and board, and have them review it as well, and they'll be coming back later on with a recommendation to council to either annex or not to annex, which the next step would be an ordinance, if I'm not mistaken, that would complete the annexation.
The applicant did also reach out today to discuss water and the requirements to bring water to the city, and just initial discussion we had this afternoon, so more to come on that.
Yes. And so with that, staff recommendation that you approve resolution 2021-5, a resolution initiating annexation proceedings.
Okay, any questions? Okay, no questions. With that, I'll look for a motion.
Do you need the motion to include the entire resolution title?
Yes.
So like that whole paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
For clarification, I know our city attorney would say always.
Unfortunately, yes.
Just want to make
Okay.
sure. I move to approve resolution number 2021-5, resolution initiating annexation proceedings and notice of public hearing of Lot 3, Townsend Minor Subdivision, a part of the south half southwest quarter of Section 33, Township 4 North, Range 56 West of the 6th Principal Median, Morgan County, Colorado.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the resolution. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Counselor Lundstrom seconds that. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Stroud,
Yes.
Counselor Garrell,
Yes.
Counselor Sherman. Yes. Counselor Lundstrom,
Yes.
Mayor Bay.
Yes, thank you, Dale.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to 6E,
Mayor,
another
before-
resolution.
Before we move on, I'm sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. As part of this resolution, I need to make a clerical change.
Okay,
The bottom of this says pass approved, adopted the 14th of June. So we just need to change that to the 28th.
Mine says the 28th.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. I apologize.
Okay,
Mine says
Okay.
the 28th.
so we're good?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, all right.
That's
Moving
my
on.
fault. I'm sorry.
We switched places last time. I was looking at the wrong one.
Nope.
That's right. Okay, moving on to 6E. We
Right.
have another resolution. This is number 2021-6. Our finance director, Joanne Gossing.
So this resolution actually came about during the Brush Rodeo Association meetings. It was brought up that the banner for the Rodeo Association's not across the street out here. Gordon Westhoff is Morgan County Commissioner and now on the Brush Rodeo Association, and he brought it to our attention that the city needed to have a resolution that was approved by council and signed by the mayor and the city clerk to be able to allow us to send it into CDOT to get their approval to put the banner across Edison Street out here.
Okay.
So he actually got some examples from the state of signage, and I tweaked them and put them together to fit the city of Brush's needs. Because most of those were erecting the poles, and our poles are already there. So ours is just that the fact the poles are there, that we own them, that we're not, that it's gonna be used for non-profit advertising only. So, Joe Blow selling tennis shoes can't come out here and put a banner up.
Okay.
But the
Use it for Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest can use it.
How about Christmas decorations?
Yes, because it's ours.
Okay.
It's nonprofit.
Wow.
We have to show in this this resolution that we take care of the maintenance and all of that. So
Okay.
that is what I've done with this resolution, and staff would request that the council would approve resolution number 2021-6.
Okay. Any questions from council?
We've done that all in time.
Okay. All right. With that, I'll look for a motion.
I would,
Thank you, Joe.
I would move we approve resolution number 2021-6, resolution of the city of Brush regarding CDOT signage.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
Counselor Grell. Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Sherman?
Yes.
Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Counselor Garrell?
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes. Okay, moving on to 6F, resolution number 2021-7. I don't, let's see. Yeah, I do. Dan Kropp, City Attorney.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a resolution saying that you want to enter into the IGA with the school district to impose fees in lieu of land dedication. We've covered this pretty extensively, but happy to answer any questions.
I would just like to address the fact that we have two resolutions with the same number in our packets.
It needs to be 2021-7.
I'm showing it as 7.
Yeah, that's mine
In the
Be it on the
agenda it
agenda.
is, but on the actual.
But in the actual packet.
Okay, we'll make note of that. Okay, very good, good catch. Okay, any questions about that?
Yeah.
Oh, I have one question. In looking through the packet, if council approves the fees in lieu of land dedication tonight, I know normally it takes 30 days, but it alluded to the fact that the agreement had a date of November 15th. So if council approves tonight, does it go into effect immediately, or do we still have to wait 30 days?
So the 30 days is a referendum period for an ordinance. You already have, your code already allows you to collect these fees. Really what this does is says, the schools come to us, us being the city, and ask to collect fees based on this study that they provided. So this could take effect immediately.
Okay, okay. Any other questions regarding this? Okay, I would look to a motion.
I move that we approve resolution number 2021-7, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with Brush School District RE2J regarding fair contributions for public school sites or fees in lieu.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Councilor Sherman, second. Any further discussion?
Did you say we had to change that to an 8, or is that the 7?
The 7.
Seven.
The agenda is correct. The
Oh,
packet
I'll
is
get you.
incorrect.
I'll get you.
Okay. No further questions. I'll go to roll call vote.
Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes?
Counselor Sherman? Yes. Counselor Garrell?
Yes.
Mayor Baker?
Yes. Okay, moving on to 6G, ordinance number 888-21. Again, our city attorney, Dan Crum.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance to amend the 2020 version of Model Traffic Code with a few local amendments. I've talked to the prosecutors, I've worked with Chief of Police on this. It's certainly something that if we adopt and then say, oh wow, this is a real big problem, we can make minor adjustments, but it looks to me like we have everything pretty well lined up.
Okay. Any questions, council? Okay, with that, I'd look for a counselor to introduce by title.
I guess, go ahead.
I was reading ahead. I move we approve ordinance number 888-21 on first reading, an ordinance amending chapter 8, article 1 of the Brush Municipal Code adopting the 2020 edition of the Model Traffic Code.
Okay, we've had the ordinance introduced. I'd look for a motion to approve.
I move we approve ordinance number 888-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 8, Article 1 of the Brush Municipal Code adopting the 2020 edition of the Model Traffic Code.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
A second.
Counselor Guerrero, second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Sherman?
Yes.
Counselor Guerrero?
Yes.
Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Mayor Bay?
Yes. Okay, moving on to finance.
I move we approve disbursements and payroll from June 15th, 2021 to June 28th, 2021 in the amount of $272,030.65.
Okay, we have a motion to approve in the amount stated. Do we have a second?
A second.
Counselor Lundstrom, second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Stroud?
Yes.
Counselor Guerrero?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman? Yes. Counselor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Mayor Bay?
Yes. Okay, moving on to staff reports. First up, we have Derek Boss, Chief of Police, in dress blues.
Good evening again. Just a couple things really quick. As you know, we have two openings. We did a hiring process about 10 days ago. One person already washed out on the background, and I don't expect to see any other viable candidates from that. So we are losing our spot in the academy, which would have started a week from today. We're looking at other academy options and re-advertising next week after the 4th of July. So just a quick update on that. And then along with staffing, we have 3 officers out on medical right now. I have one that we expect any minute he'll go on paternity leave. So happy for him, but hurts us. And I have one officer on vacation and one officer, and that's it. So we are stretched very thin for the 4th of July. We've reached out for a lot of help. Big shout out to Parks and Wildlife. They're actually providing us with the most support right now. Fort Morgan's giving us 1 officer, and the sheriff's office, I believe, is giving us 1 or 2 to help out with the parade as well. I'm confident that we have everything covered for the weekend, but we are stretched thin. So that's all I've got.
Has the new pay kind of helped the morale out?
I think that will help out a lot, but they don't actually know yet.
They don't know, okay.
Because it wasn't approved till just a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm sure by tomorrow, everybody will be very excited.
Cool, good.
Thank you.
I have a question as
Yes,
well.
ma'am.
Is the new part-time code enforcement officer working out well?
Yes, she is.
Great, because
Very well.
I've been hearing lots of, we need this addressed, we need this addressed, and so it'll be nice to have extra coverage.
It will be, and probably by the end of July, she'll be finished with training, so at that point, we'll have code enforcement 7 days a week,
Awesome,
which will very much help us.
awesome, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks. Thanks, Chief.
Director of Public Works, Dale Colrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Not a whole lot to report, but there are some big items. Starting July 6th, Burlington Northern as well as CDOT and Martin Marietta, CDOT's contractor, will be rebuilding the very east crossing over here at Rush. I believe this will be the 4th time I've seen it rebuilt in the 30 years that I've been here.
Wow.
So hopefully, they can get some of the underlying issues corrected that has caused this crossing to fail over and over and over again. So, it will be closed for a total of 4 days, and so you're gonna see a lot of detour traffic coming, either direction, going up to Mill Street, crossing over to 29, and then back onto 34, and then the other route back the same way. And so it's gonna be 4 days of inconvenience, but hopefully we will get it fixed to where, it's gonna be a nice crossing again, so.
That's the one by Drovers?
Yes. And so, that's one right there. And then, I know we keep talking about sidewalks, and, we're still waiting to see something happen, but you see the signs up, because they were putting them up today. And so, on Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock, we got a pre-construction meeting with Martin Marietta, Scott Contracting, as well as CDOT, Roxall, and we're just gonna kind of walk the project and talk about some of the things that are gonna take place. So expect that after the 4th of July, things are gonna start moving fairly rapid. I have been in contact with some of the business owners up and down through this particular corridor. Some are really happy that it's happening because they want maintenance that they want to have done on their properties as well. So having their entryway shut down gives them an opportunity to correct that at the same time. A lot of them are just really happy that they're getting the wider sidewalks. But I will I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be an inconvenience. But you're going to hate me when you're doing it, but you're going to love it when it's done. So,
Dale, can I just ask a quick question?
Certainly.
And forgive my ignorance on this, but when we have closures, are they communicated to the emergency response services that we have?
I believe so, yes.
I was just wondering, because like the volunteer fire department, I happen to have one in my household, and he didn't know about it until I read him the City of Brush's post today.
Interesting. Yeah, they put out press releases, but. yes,
We
yes.
get that information as it's current, so.
Okay.
They don't tell us days in advance, they tell us the day of, because so much of this changes.
Okay.
But we are notified, as soon as the road's closed, we know, when it's open, we know.
I guess my biggest concern too is with the sidewalks being worked on, how is that gonna work with the fire department having access to the fire department?
Everything's gonna be staged. This is not gonna be just a complete rip out
Okay.
and, sorry, Charlie, this is the way it is. That's not how it's being done. We have to take into account the residential driveways. We're very conscious of individuals being able to park in their yard. So in those particular cases, the entire drive will probably be removed, but then they will put back one half of it and leave the other one just kind of like a road-based type entryway so they can get it out. Once they get strength on that one half of the driveway, then they'll do the other half and continue down. So it'll be done in chunks. And so the fire department, emergency response will always have access.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I mean, I'm sure most of you have known, they've been exceptionally busy lately, and so I would just hate for them not to be able to get out.
Oh, the word will get out, but again, there's a lot of these press releases we get that say not for release.
Oh, okay.
And so as Chief explained, because sometimes these things can be dynamic.
Yeah.
And rather than put out bad information and later having to retract it and do it again, we usually don't, when it's ready for release, that's when we know.
That's fair.
And we
I
put it
didn't
out.
understand how the process worked, and I was like, surely they would say something.
Yes, but it's been no secret that we're gonna be doing these sidewalks. I mean, we've been talking about this for months and months and months.
I'm excited
on
about
end.
the crossing getting repaired. It hurts
Yes.
to go over that thing.
It does.
I in the truck.
I'm good.
You make that.
Trying a motorcycle.
Oh, I know. I've been scolded a lot. Actually, it's not even the city limits, but we're trying to make this work, so,
That's gonna be super nice.
yeah. And then finally, if you've not been out to the golf course, number 9 hole, there's a pond out there with fountains. It's looking good.
Very cool.
And so, I think that if Lance was here, he'd be able to say more about it, but I believe they've still got some more work to do on Pettis Gardens to get the sprinkler system back up and going on that. But the pond is complete, so watch your water hazards.
Yeah, it's bigger now.
Yeah, it's
Take
bigger.
the drop, just take the
Yes.
drop.
Okay.
And I'll take
I have
any
a
questions.
question.
Yes.
What is the status of the stripe machine?
Oh, yeah, it's a matter of getting personnel out there to get it done.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, at this point. So I still want to, to actually contract that out is incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
It's obscene at times. And
Whatever.
so we're still trying
It
to get,
doesn't even have to be straight. It just has
Oh, yes, it has to be straight, trust me, we've done this before.
Are we talking about
Mill Street?
Hospital Road? Or Mill Street?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did have the mechanic go over the striping machine and make sure it was good to go, and I visited with a couple of crew members to make sure that they are confident they can operate it and make a straight line. So,
Let
and
'em-
they've assured me they can.
Maybe we could practice over at the high school on their pavement.
Nobody will notice.
Yeah.
Okay, any
All
other
right.
questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Okay, moving on, Joanne Gosselink, Finance Director.
I just have one item this evening, and that is to report, if you haven't noticed or seen, there will be a rodeo this weekend.
Woo-hoo.
Starting Friday, July 2nd, there is no barbecue. That decision was made very early on when we wasn't sure whether we could fulfill this anticipation and dream. The 3rd is the same. The 4th, the parade will start at 11 instead of 10. And everything else is pretty much the same. And we do have a 3-day pass this year that if you're wanting to go to all 3 nights, an adult can pay $25 instead of $30 and save themselves $5. And children, you can pay $12 for a 3-day pass and save $3 on the kids. And they're also, the night of the 2nd is a buy one adult, get one child free, and then we do have those tickets separate. They're just like a carnival ticket that you pick up and take to the gate and pay to get your child in free. And there's kids' games all 3 nights, and we look forward to an exciting 4th of July this year.
I think it's gonna be ridiculous busy this year. I think it's gonna be nuts.
I think it's gonna be crazy packed.
I hope you're right.
One thing I just thought of, and maybe this is a question for Teresa, last year, the route changed slightly. Is it gonna be the same route as last year?
Same route as last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody, we got a lot of good feedback that people really liked that route.
Mhm.
And so that it was
Okay.
decided early on that we'd keep that route. I think the police department liked it better. It was
Okay.
easier to get people in and out.
Okay, great.
So, yeah,
Good things to come.
still gonna have a pancake breakfast at the library. Okay, I think the only thing we're not having is that free barbecue on the night of the 2nd.
Okay.
I did hear a little back and forth on the times on the pancake breakfast, but I did look it up today. It is from 7 to 10:30. I looked it up today.
Okay.
Because someone had thought it was maybe at 9, but it's at 7.
Yeah, and I think the flyers that we have posted say 6, but
Good Lord.
if you're
I
there
am
at
not
6,
eating
you'll be
pancakes
there
at
in time
6.
for breakfast.
All right, thank you, Joe. Next up, Lorenda Packard, City Clerk.
I have nothing to report this evening.
Okay, moving on, Dan Kropp, City Attorney.
Also, nothing to report.
Okay, Monty Therese, City Administrator.
A few items. One, Rick Robley and I did go to the CCCMA conference last week. That's the Colorado City County Managers Association. And with both of us there, we're able to separate and go different ways and go to different breakout sessions, so that did come in pretty handy. Some of the focuses were discussions on the ARP, the American Recovery Plan, those funds, how we can spend and use those. Also, there was a lot of leadership training that included, I don't know if it's EDI or DEI, but the diversity, equity, inclusion discussions that they're having around the state. And probably the highlight was the economic forecast for Colorado, for the United States and Colorado, for the upcoming 1, 2, 3 years. Every year they have a speaker come in, Dr. Webekind, and he's Colorado's, I believe he is Colorado's leading financial analyst to look at economic of the state and how we compare against the nation and what direction I think we're going to go. So a lot of information from that as well. And also there was an opportunity to visit with DOLA while we're up there, talking about our comprehensive plan, updating that, if there's grants or financial assistance for that project, which is slated here in the next year or two. And then also we had discussions about the quiet zone, if there will be potential grant funds for those. So really good conference. Couple other items. One is we are planning to do something for the recreation department here in the near future, and that's recognize them for all the work that they do, because it's like almost every time we have a get-together, they're always having to help with that event as well. And they do have their recreation week coming up in another week, And then, so sometime after that, we're gonna do some type of a celebration for them. Give them a break for once. Then also, one item that I'll be bringing back to the city council, I'll visit with the mayor about a little bit first, is the cogeneration plant here in town. They, years ago, a past mayor worked with them to find some land with water rights that was supposed to be, they bought it and they were supposed to give that land and water rights to the city. And that was for offsetting some of their pressure putting onto our well fields. And they had ownership changes and management changes, and that never occurred. And it's the land behind Brush Meat Processors across the tracks to the south from Fresh Foods. So it's that farm ground that's out there. And it never was transferred, and then we've had a few different attempts to try and secure the property. We got close, and then management change again. You start all over, so I'd like to visit about that one more time. But I'll bring the mayor up to speed, and then we'll bring it to council and talk about what steps we might be able to take. And that is it. That is it as far as my report. Just one comment. I did visit with Dell today. He's got a street preservation and street project list. Dell just has to get with put those out to bid at this point, and we have quite a few street preservation improvement projects for this year. We just gotta hope that the bids come in good and there's availability of the companies that do this type of work. That's all I have.
Okay.
What were you thinking for the recreation department?
We've just been talking about it here recently. But it could be a barbecue, or it could be taking them out somewhere to eat. They have a lot. We have two things. One is we have not that many employees that work for those departments, but we have a lot of seasonals and temps and part-timers that do work there. So we have to decide if we're gonna do everyone. That could be probably 100 people, or we could do the about 12 or so that we have for those departments.
Couldn't imagine it'd be too hard to get some of the city council guys here to volunteer their time to help out. I like to volunteer, but here, like, you know.
Oh, yeah. good.
I would absolutely
Yeah, okay.
volunteer.
Like I got dirt on them, you know. You
I
will
would volunteer.
Yeah. Now, we did have the Public Works lunch appreciation for those departments, and we're trying to do something original and creative. So this last one was a German theme to it. So we had Jägerschnitzel, some German potato salads, and cucumber salads, and strudel, and German chocolate cake. So we mixed it up a little bit. So we want to try to do something a little bit different, because we were getting into the rut of barbecue, and so we switched it up a little bit.
You did like a pool party, right? You still barbecue for them.
Pool party. They work there every day. So
I was gonna
That's
say,
true.
doesn't the recreation department run the pool?
They might wanna get away.
Thanks, city council. Thanks.
Lifeguard.
I volunteer Larry.
Larry and Kevin got this.
What's that? Lifeguard?
Pink
Yeah,
bikinis.
that's all he needs to know.
I do float pretty well.
Is there a way that we could be a part of the conversation, though? So obviously Larry has some ideas, and, I mean,
Oh,
so
sure.
we could
Yeah,
help support them?
sure can. We'll take all the help we can get. I did remember one thing. Each council member should have received an email today, and the email was in regards to a couple days that we're looking. One day, we're looking for a meeting to talk about our priorities for the future. We have so many different projects out there. Some days it's kind of confusing which direction to go, so we need to visit with council about what we have on the plate, anything else we need to consider, and get a reasonable priority list pulled together. And then another discussion was public safety, the ballot question, those type of things. So that email went out this afternoon, so we just need to respond back to those, get some ideas of some dates.
Okay, in the next couple days, right? Email said next couple
Saw
days.
it today.
I think it was the week of the 19th or the week of the 26th?
12th or 19th.
Oh, 12th and the 19th, okay. Okay, everybody get back within a couple days and we'll set that up. Okay? That it? Okay. Moving on to number 9, mayor and council reports. Does council have anything to report tonight?
I just wanted to say thank you to Parks and Recreation for another great trivia night. It was fantastic. We had a lot of fun. And also for a fantastic brush rush. I know it was a pretty small participation. Everyone was probably glad because I probably wouldn't have placed had there been the normal amount of people. But it was organized. It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. There was a lot of great volunteers keeping you directed and where to go, and it's probably one of the funnest things I've done in a while. So
How many years has that been running in a row?
this was
Next year will be 40.
yeah. Lance was really excited. He announced it.
Yeah.
So this was 39, and next
39.
year he said there will be a breakfast,
Mhm.
and it'll be a little bit bigger because next year will be the 40th.
Yeah. Okay. All right, anything else? With that, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting, and we'll move into our work session. Thank you.